We have begun the shift into a new era. We are already feeling this energy. We have had a bit of a prelude of this energy with Jupiter moving into Leo and Pluto, of course, being in Aquarius for some time now. But now the nodes are shifting into the signs of Leo and Aquarius. This is going to bring potent changes, especially for the fixed signs, which are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Now I have been away. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus. Now I'm not fully back, but I wanted to come back and record a quick little video to touch on the changes of the nodes and the new eclipse energies that we'll be having coming through, because these are going to be pretty potent considering they both include Jupiter and Pluto in the signs with the nodes. So it's going to be potent, it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be intense, which is not that too dissimilar for eclipse season. However, this is a fresh new wave of energy that we have coming through, especially now that we have Uranus in Gemini, which will be making some positive aspects to this energy. Now, if you're new here, hi, my name is Alex. I'm an astrologer based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and this is my channel Venus in Virgo Astrology, where I do consulting astrology readings. Now, I am on a bit of a break with readings at the moment. I'm hoping to reopen my books towards the end of this year, if not early 2027. I know that is a long way away, but I do plan on being a little bit more regular with these videos. But without further ado, let's get into these energies. It's going to be a pretty quick fire video touching on all 12 rising signs, which also can be translated into sun signs and moon signs. So make sure that you want to watch your big three to get a full picture of where this energy might be happening for you. I will be drawing a collective energy reading card, which will be at the end of the video, so make sure to watch to the end to see a little bit of extra guidance that you might be needing. But if you'd like to follow me, it helps a lot, and if you'd like to leave me a comment on sort of what videos you'd like to see me make. I'm hoping to get back into doing monthly forecasts. I know that you really enjoyed those, so I'm hoping to bring those back, but fingers crossed. We'll get into those soon, but I will start bringing out a bit more videos a bit more regularly now that I've been sort of away from making them for over 6 months. But with the nodes shifting, this is going to be a nice change, especially for a Leo as myself. I'm hoping this new energy brings some new creative spark, but we'll get into that. I want to touch on what this energy means, what the node shifting means, when this energy was present last, and sort of what the chart is looking like with the nodes in Leo and Aquarius, and then we'll get into where this energy will be playing out for all 12 rising signs. So if you'd like to see where this is happening for you, keep on watching. And just as a reminder, I am using New Zealand Standard Time, so the dates might be a little bit ahead for where you might be based in the world. So just make sure to adjust that for where you're based. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Now, the nodes will be shifting into the signs of Leo and Aquarius on the 27th of July, New Zealand Standard Time at around 1 p.m. At the time of the nodes shifting, we will have Jupiter in the sign of Leo, Venus in the sign of Virgo, and the moon will actually be in Capricorn, which is interesting. We have Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. Now, Pluto will be retrograde at the time of the nodes shifting. We have Saturn retrograde in Aries, Neptune retrograde in Aries. We have Chiron in Taurus, which is a new energy that we're currently moving through. We'll have Mars in Gemini along with Uranus in Gemini, another new energy that we've been experiencing. And we'll also have Mercury in Cancer. Now, Mercury has just recently stationed direct before the nodes shift. So I believe it stations direct around the 23rd, 24th of July. So Mercury will be freshly direct. It's not out of its retrograde shadow until around the 7th of August. So we are still working through some energies. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say this might still be bringing up some challenges for us around the time of the node shifting. What really is interesting to me is we do have some pretty potent planets in the signs of Leo and Aquarius at the time of these nodes shifting. Now, Pluto being in the sign of Aquarius is not a new energy for us. We have experienced this for a few years now. However, it is retrograde, so this energy might be a bit more internal during the nodes shifting, during that North Node moving into the sign of Aquarius. Now, with the North Node in Aquarius, and it's on the axis of Leo and Aquarius, obviously, it's going to be pushing us to maybe refocus our energy into more humanitarian pursuits. What does Aquarius stand for? It's the humanitarian of the zodiac. We might be more pushed to connect with our communities. We might be needing to connect with our communities around us or form our own communities in order to give back or to receive any assistance or help, or just the connections that we might be we're kind of starving for at the moment. We're really, as a collective, really starving for that authentic connection. You see it online, you see it in talks. We've become such a society that's been very dialed into this online space. Now, I'm not saying that we can't find connections within the online space, but sometimes when it's just in the ether and just scrolling through whatever app you're scrolling through, if it's not intentional, it can feel quite lonely. If you're not connecting with people, you can feel like you're constantly keeping up to date with people that you know or people that you follow, but you feel so lonely. So I think that this North Node in Aquarius with Pluto in Aquarius, it's really transforming in so many ways our connections to our humanitarian energy. It's connecting us to our circles of influence or circles of friendships or circles that might be influencing us in some way, but also these sort of grassroots connections, these connections on how we can give back to the world around us. I feel like we're really starting to see this split between this online world and this real life world. And I think these North Node and Aquarius, South Node in Leo, we are sort of being drawn away from being in our ego, being in our self, being in our energy of Leo, which I'm going to touch on in a second, but really being pulled out of this energy and really focusing on who are my true circles, who are the people that I really am inspired by, the friendships. Now, it's not necessarily friendships, but it's more like connections. It's more like, how am I giving back to the community, giving back to the collective in some way? We had a lot of this energy when we had Saturn transiting the sign of Aquarius. If you think back to 2020, I know this energy is different, but we can sort of see how these big shifts with these personal planets. Now, Pluto isn't a personal planet, it's an outer planet, but the nodes can feel quite personal. So we sort of saw this real shift to really become one, connect with each other. Now, it does have a bit of a darker side with this Aquarius energy. It is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is in Gemini. Uranus brings sudden innovation. We are seeing so much innovation with the use of AI. We're seeing this kind of monster sort of form with the use of AI and the data centers and things like that are popping up, and the energies around those, and how it's shifting and changing us as a society, as a collective, as how it's impacting us as humans. How are we integrating this energy into our society? How has it been integrated without our knowledge, without our consent in some ways too? It's erratic. It's also ruled by Saturn, so there is a heavier energy with Saturn and Aries. We're restructuring and reshifting and changing our perception of ourselves, our ego, who we are and what we're here to do in the world. So I do feel like these energies and this new North Node is growth and refocusing our energies and refocusing our direction in this way. So I think that we're starting to see again the split between pro AI and people really wanting to embrace AI, and I do think AI has its uses in parts, but we're also seeing this other shift and this other split for the damage that the AI is doing and the consumption on the earth and the planet. So there needs to be this sort of refocus and revisiting of, is this helping us or harming us? I think we're going to see a lot of energy sort of focused on maybe some more environmental energies that we're needing to look at, maybe needing to put our energy into, especially with Chiron and Taurus. Now, Taurus is our resources. Chiron is the wounded healer. we saw the challenges and shifts and changes that we had with Uranus moving through Taurus, and the disruption to supply chains and disruption to our food and our resources. Now it's a very different energy to Chiron, but Chiron is also going to be squaring the nodes at points. So it's going to be interesting. It's not squaring it when they move into this energy, but it will be squaring it a little bit later on as the nodes shift through, as they are a little bit of a quicker transit than Chiron. Now, with the energy of the South Node in Leo, now Leo is all about creativity. It is sort of associated with the ego, but it's also about seeing things from a optimistic perspective. I see Leo as a very optimistic sign. Leo is ruled by the sun, and when we have the eclipses in Leo, because it's involving the sun, Leo's ruler, so it's going to feel intense, especially if we have Leo placements. With Jupiter involved, I do feel like this does bring a positive, lucky energy into the mix, but it also intensifies and expands things. So things could feel a bit blown out of proportion when we have these eclipses. Things could feel a bit overwhelming. They're happening all at once. They're seeming to be bigger and larger than life. I do feel like that could be the energy, or these sudden endings and letting go. But I feel like because Jupiter is in the mix, that we are getting a bit of a positive helping hand. Things aren't necessarily the worst case scenario. We do have Pluto in the mix though, so whatever is going to happen is going to change and transform us and help us shed something. Something needs to end, needs to be put to ground, needs to be finished before we can move on, before we can create this newest fertile soil that we need. We need to create space in our life for these new shifts and changes that are coming through, whether we like it or not. And that's what eclipses are. It's fated energy. It's sometimes we're not ready for these changes, but these changes are coming, so we just have to hold on and sort of enjoy the ride as best we can. And I think that's the energy that Jupiter is bringing. It's bringing this sort of like, almost I feel like this cloak of protection in a way, this sort of helping positive influence, especially for like letting go of things that could feel really hurtful, really devastating, but you are feeling supported and surrounded by love and care. Or maybe you are feeling like things are just sort of easier to work through than you maybe first anticipated. Those are the sort of energies that I'm feeling. I do feel like with Saturn, Aquarius's traditional ruler in the sign of Aries, we're able to sort of lean on ourselves more. We're able to sort of put our sort of armor on and sort of weather the storm better than maybe we could have with Saturn and Pisces. I feel like if this energy was happening with Saturn and Pisces, I feel like it would be quite a different story. But before I get into any more, I want us to think back to 2016, 2017 and 2018 and 2019. This sort of energy of the South Node it was actually South Node in Aquarius, North Node in Leo. So it was a shift. It was a different energy in a way, but it was the same sort of energy of the eclipses happening on this axis. So think back to this time. It's going to be different because we have different outer planets involving different things, but it's kind of maybe bringing a similar energy or a similar storyline, or things that could have been coming up then could be coming up again for us to think about, to work through, to maybe look at again. Or we're obviously going to all be in different areas and phases of life than we were back then. The world is completely different to what it was back then as a collective, but these could be energies that could be coming up because this is where this energy was happening for you. Now, before I move into the 12 signs, I do also just want to touch on Uranus being in the sign of Gemini. Now, Uranus and Gemini will form a sextile to this energy in Leo and trine this energy in Aquarius. So we could expect sudden and erratic changes, but a positive way. We could expect sudden and erratic thoughts or situations to just happen quicker or more unexpected. The outcome could be more unexpected than we anticipated originally. So this could be another energy to just watch out for, but also to be aware of. You might be overthinking how things are going to play out, or where this energy or what might happen for you based on where this will be in your chart. But just know that because we have spicy Uranus in the mix, things maybe will pan out differently to what you could be expecting or what you could be anticipating. Now, the first eclipse in this energy won't be happening until August 13th, where it will be happening in the sign of Leo, and it is a total solar eclipse. So this energy is going to be potent right off the bat. It is happening at 5:38 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time, so just make sure to adjust that for where you're based in the world. And it is happening at 20 degrees of Leo in 1 minute. So we will still have a few eclipses in the signs of Pisces and Virgo for the next year and a bit. So the next eclipse will be happening in Pisces, and that will be a partial lunar eclipse happening on the 28th of August at 4:18 p.m. and that is happening at 4 degrees Pisces in 54 minutes. So if you do have Pisces and Virgo placements, these energies will still be quite present. With the nodes shifting, it just might be less intense for you because the nodes will actually be out of your signs. The next eclipses that we will be having in these signs will be happening in February. So we'll be having the annual solar eclipse happening on February 6th, 2027 at 17 degrees Aquarius in 38 minutes. And then the penumbral lunar eclipse happening on February 20th, 2027. So it will be 20th, 21st or February 6th or 7th. And the one in February 20th will be happening at 2 degrees of Virgo, and then the next eclipses for this lot of eclipses will not be happening until July and August 2027. So there will be some energy starting to come up for Cancer and Capricorn because this is where the eclipses will be hitting. So we'll talk a bit more about that in a much later video. Now we have had a little bit of this energy that we've kind of felt a bit. So think back to February. Now the beginning of this year has been really chaotic. So it could be a little taster. I'm kind of this end of the rest of this year is a little bit dicey. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but we did have some energy sort of coming up on February 17th, 2026. We had a annual solar eclipse happening at 28 degrees of Aquarius and 50 minutes. So we did have some energies coming up that we did experience a little bit. And like I said, this will be a mixed bag of energy. It's not just Leo and Aquarius, it's Leo, Pisces, Virgo, and Aquarius and Leo. So there is still a mix of energy for those with Pisces and Virgo placements, but it won't be as sort of intense feeling as the nodes will have shifted. So I just wanted to provide some dates on when the eclipses will be happening, because this is when the nodes will also be activated in a very intense way. For Aries and Aries rising, this energy is happening for you in your 5th and 11th houses. So with the North Node moving into your 11th house of Aquarius, joining Pluto, and the South Node moving into your 5th house of Leo, joining Jupiter. Now this energy will be kind of pushing you or suggesting for you to shift and move into looking at your circles of friendships, your connections, your network circles, your hopes, dreams, and wishes. This is going a massive, potent shift, change, transformation, bolded, underlined, capital letters in your 11th house of friendships and connections and hopes and dreams and wishes. The 5th house will be going through a shift, change, letting go when it comes to do with your hobbies, what brings you joy, children in your life. So there should be some changes maybe moving you forward into shifting out of maybe an old relationship. The 5th house also rules relationships before marriage. So sort of maybe if you've got any maybe longer or shorter term relationships or situationships that are no longer working, or just want to sort of move away and find something new or fresh, this is like a really good energy for letting that go. Things might sort of feel a bit bigger and more intense. Things might be a bit more overwhelming when it comes to letting go, but it also is positively supported. Now the 5th house with Jupiter transiting it is also a positive energy if you are wanting to start a family or grow your family. That's just a general representation of Jupiter moving through the 5th house as it rules children. So I'm not saying that will happen, but that is an energy that is present there. Now with Uranus in your 3rd house of Gemini, it could be maybe helping you to express or speak your mind, or maybe in sort of use different methods of communication or learning to really help you shift and change your circles or meet new people in different areas in life that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So it is a nicer energy to have these transformations happen through. It's a little bit less intense and chaotic than your 6th and 12th houses, which you've been having recently. So they will still have some eclipses in those houses, but they won't be as potent as the nodes will have shifted into your 5th and 11th house. So it will be a bit of an interesting energy for you, Aries and Aries rising. So for Taurus and Taurus rising, the energy of the nodes will be happening on your 4th and 10th houses. Now this will form a T-squared to your ascendant and descendant, or your sun or your moon, whatever, if you have any placements in Taurus and Scorpio. This might be a quite transformative and life-changing eclipse energy. Now you did have, if you think back quite a few years ago, how you were moving through the eclipses in your ascendant and descendant. It possibly won't be as intense and transformative as that, but it will still cause some transformation and some really intense energy, as it will form a grand cross in your chart, potentially with personal planets, but with your ascendant and descendant at some point. So it will be quite prominent, especially with the North Node in your 10th house. That is a really nice energy for transforming and changing and really shedding and letting go of a career or how you're perceived in your public life in a way that could feel quite freeing. So I feel like you're letting go of some sort of commitment that might have been holding you back and going after or putting yourself out there in a way that feels more authentic to yourself. Whether you kind of want to or not, I feel like that will be the path that you'll kind of be leaning into. With the South Node in your 4th house with Jupiter, I feel like this could be a letting go of maybe a home or some sort of family tie and connection, or letting go of some roots that could be not inspiring you anymore. Remembering that this energy is still creative. It's a lighter energy for you, but it will feel a bit intense, a bit heavy, especially with Saturn in your 12th house. But with Uranus in your 2nd house, this could give an opportunity to potentially make money or bring money in a way that could be unexpected, or not really thinking that is how it was going to turn out, but it will be supporting because it will be forming a sextile to your 4th house and a trine to your 10th house. So this could be a really interesting energy to maybe really shift into a career pathway that you've been thinking about or wanting to, as it could potentially pay off for you financially in the long term. Gemini and Gemini rising, this energy of the eclipses and the nodes shifting will be happening in your 3rd and 9th houses. So you could feel like you're shifting and moving towards maybe putting yourself out there, putting your work out there, or moving overseas. There could be some higher law or legal energy that could be really going through some sort of deep transformation, or maybe higher study that you're finally finishing that's going to transform your life in some way. Or maybe you're just going through some sort of shift and change to really just put yourself out there and put your work out there more. Be in touch with the right people, the right circles, the right energies, the right just community that you're needing to be in front of, that you're needing to put yourself, your work, or the 9th house is a lot of publishing. So if you're a writer or you're wanting to put work out there in that way, this is a really interesting energy for that. With the South Node being in your 3rd house, this could be sort of maybe helping you shift away from maybe a local space or your local community and maybe wanting to connect with more overseas community. Maybe you're letting go of familiar ties to extended family or siblings that could have been holding you back, or they could be supporting you in some way that you maybe didn't expect. With Uranus in your 1st house, you're going through this sort of interesting change and shift in identity, which I think could be really positive in helping you put work out there that maybe helps you be perceived in a way that you weren't really expecting. You maybe weren't really expecting the audience or the receptivity of the work you're putting out there, or your studies, or how that will impact the collective and community in some way. I feel like getting involved with the wider community, maybe putting your work out there in the way that's going to impact people overseas, that could impact people sort of in different ways. Or maybe you could be doing a big shift overseas. You could be just more involved with foreign connections or people from other cultures that could be inspiring you in the way that you communicate with others. And it could be a big part of your journey and a really positive shift in a new direction for you, Gemini rising. Cancer and Cancer rising, this energy of the nodes shifting and the eclipses will be happening in your 2nd and 8th houses. Now with the North Node in your 8th house of Aquarius, there could be some inheritance tax or debt that you could be taking on or coming your way that could be a bit transformative or change your life in a way that you maybe didn't see coming. That could be positively, or that could be preparing you so that you are prepared. Being prepared is forearmed, but with Jupiter in the mix, I do feel like you're going to be positively supported in some way. You could be shifting or changing the way you make money. Maybe you are receiving more support than potential other sort of times or in other situations. You have Saturn transiting your 10th house. Your career and public reputation is undergoing some sort of deep transformation, maybe putting more boundaries in so that you're able to maybe create space to make money in a different or new way. With Uranus in your 12th house, there's some likely unexpected hidden support that maybe you weren't expecting. This eclipse coming up in the sign of Leo could be quite potent for your finances, so make sure you're tracking or sort of understanding where that's coming from and maybe taking note of it, and just understanding that maybe it's not always going to be like that. It might feel like, wow, this is all happening all of a sudden, it's always going to be this way. I think just be cautious of this energy. I mean, Jupiter will be in your 2nd house, so you will be positively supported within your financial means, but it could be that you are maybe overdoing it, thinking that it's always going to be like this, but it could be a really nice boost or injection to your finances, which you might have been waiting for, which might play out over the next 6 months for you, Cancer and Cancer rising. Leo and Leo rising, this energy is happening for you in your 1st and 7th houses. So this eclipse season, the shift of the nodes is going to feel very personal, especially if you have personal planets in the 1st and 7th houses in the sign of Leo and Aquarius, or even in the signs of Taurus and Scorpio. So this will be transforming deeply your sense of self and your sense of connection with others. If you're married, your marriage could be undergoing a positive shift and transformation in a good direction that you're needing it to freshen things up, to shift things, to really change some sort of energy into another phase that you're moving through together. You're letting go of an identity of yourself that no longer feels authentic. You're letting go of something that didn't feel quite right with you. You're shifting into maybe a sense of self that is a bit shocking, unexpected, or deeper than people are used to. This is a lot to do with Pluto being in your 7th house, opposing your ascendant at some point, as well as Uranus in your 11th house. Uranus is really changing and shifting up your connection with others, and this is going to really positively impact maybe clientele that you work with. Maybe you're aligning yourself with clientele that feels more deeply connected to who you are on a really intense, deep spiritual level. I feel like this is some sort of spiritual change that you're going through, Leo and Leo rising, that's maybe opening you up to a new sense of self and a new sense of identity. This is going to be also, we're looking at Saturn in the 9th house, maybe connecting and shifting and changing your boundaries when it comes to legalities, when it comes to overseas work. You could be unexpectedly shifting something overseas or working with overseas energy or foreign cultures in some way too. But overall, it will be a very different shift for you, Leo and Leo rising, bringing in a new sense of self, a connection with others, and new clientele that you could be calling in or bringing in or unexpectedly coming through to you through new connections that you're making through stepping in to this new version of yourself, Leo and Leo rising. Virgo and Virgo rising, this energy is happening for you in your 6th and 12th houses. So the nodes are shifting into this area of life for you. The eclipses will be happening on this axis for you. Now this is the axis of health, work, and spirituality in hidden communities. So this could be some sort of shift in focusing on your health, focusing on your well-being, your daily routines, your work, your co-workers. Some sort of deep transformation is happening here for you, Virgo rising. You're letting go of some sort of hidden part of yourself. You're moving and shifting and changing and focusing on maybe there are areas in life that you've maybe swept under the rug that you're not wanting to pay attention to. You're now focusing this energy on if you don't focus on this now, it's going to overwhelm and consume you. So I think that focusing on your health and maybe some new and unique perspectives, new ways, you might be having some unexpected support through your work, through your public connections, through how people perceive you externally. You might be receiving some unexpected energies through that. You've also got Saturn in the 8th house, so I feel like there is some sort of energy happening here to do with supporting you through income in some different way. Maybe you're receiving grants, maybe you're receiving loans or support through other people's finances in helping you to really get to this new phase in work or your health. But I feel like this is a lot to do with your health and work are very connected. Your health and work potentially are going through a big shift and change. Maybe you're changing careers because you're needing to move into a new area that supports you better. Maybe you're focusing on connecting with work that lights you up in a spiritual way that feels deeper than maybe what you have been doing. With Jupiter in the 12th house, it's very much exploring that connection to spirituality. I mean, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, it also rules Pisces, and in the 12th house, we have this connection to our spirituality. And for you with Leo ruling the 12th house, it is connecting in a creative and playful way. And maybe it's even connecting with communities that are a bit hidden, that are a bit more hidden from society. So that's like maybe organized religion, or it's maybe connecting with sort of support groups for certain things. If you have certain aspects in life that could feel quite addicting, this could be some sort of energy that you might need to focus on in terms of moving and shifting, changing your health in some way. But there could be a lot of support that's hidden or unexpected for you that's coming out of the woodwork, that is really helping you to move into this really healthy new phase of life for you, Virgo and Virgo rising. For Libra and Libra rising, this energy will be happening for you in your 5th and 11th houses. Now the nodes and eclipses will be moving into your 5th house and your 11th house, with the North Node moving into your 5th house of Aquarius, joining Pluto. So there's some deep transformation happening to do with what lights you up and brings you joy, your hobbies, your connection to children or children in your life, or your romantic relationships in your life. Maybe they're shifting and moving to a new, more serious level, or maybe you're calling in new connections to do with what lights you up. You're wanting to maybe explore this in a way that feels interesting. You're having a bit of a helping hand through Uranus in your 9th house, giving you this unexpected support, maybe from people from overseas, connections that you maybe didn't think about, or even an overseas sort of inspiration in some way. You could have unexpected legal energies that work in your favor. With the 11th house and your South Node and Jupiter here, you're letting go of old circles of friendships and relationships that no longer serve you. You're maybe seeing the bigger picture. Maybe you've been giving people too much of a chance, or collecting a lot of different friends and a lot of different circles that you're needing to maybe sort through and let some go. You can't give everything to everyone all the time, and that is an energy that is difficult for Libra energy. You want to keep the balance, keep the peace, but I think this sort of eclipse energy is sort of showing to you, especially because it will sextile and trine your ascendant, that it's important to put what brings you joy and lights you up as its importance, as well as what lights other people up. You can't be everything to everyone, so it's important you choose who you want to be around, who inspires you, who lights you up, who aligns with this energy that you're wanting to call in, and who aligns with maybe this new phase of life that you're moving into. If you are wanting to start or grow your family, this is some changes and shifts in your 5th house of children, and also your 5th house is obviously, like I said, the house of relationships, so this could be a positive shift and growth in the relationships in your life, Libra and Libra rising. Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this energy of the nodes shifting and the eclipses will be happening in your 10th and 4th houses. There's going to be a shift with the North Node moving into your 4th house to join Pluto, to really focus on your home, your roots, your connection with your family and your connection with your ancestors. Maybe you're wanting to shift your energy and attention to your more home self, to your home base, to maybe changing your home environment, to creatively inspire you to feel more like you're in an area or a space where you can connect with others. or connect with communities, or be within a community that inspires you and lights you up and helps you to sort of shift and change your career in a way where you're maybe more focused on your home and family rather than putting yourself out there and in your career and work persona or energy so much. You're maybe focusing on maybe your home base and bring your attention or energy inward and a bit more internal or behind the scenes more rather than more forward or front facing. With the South Node joining Jupiter in your 10th house of Leo, this is going to be a shift and change when it comes to your career, when it comes to how you're perceived publicly, and when it comes to your public achievements and energies and things that you put out into the world. Jupiter is a really nice energy to have in your 10th house. I feel like you are going to get a lot of praise and maybe some attention and admiration for the work that you've done, but it could be sort of like that fruits of your labor have come to fruition, and now it's time to shift your energy and focus on something new. Focus on a new area of life or area of life that might have been neglected due to this energy that you've been putting into your work, your achievements, or your public achievements in a way rather than more personal home life. Uranus will be in your 8th house, so there could be some unexpected support, whether that be through other people's money, inheritances, loans, or even some financial shifts and changes. Maybe taking on some important debt or something to help you get through this energy. Maybe you are looking at shifting where you're moving to or your home in some way. And you've also got Saturn moving through your 6th house, so there could be some shifts and changes in some sort of more serious energy when it comes to your health, well-being, and your career again. So it could be setting yourself up for more longevity when it comes to your career or the work that you do in order to support your health in some way. This is a energy that will be supporting the nodes as well as Uranus, so it's important to look at this energy as a holistic view for you Scorpio rising, and it will be important to note that this will be forming a potential grand cross or a potential intense energy when it comes to your ascendant and descendant. So this could be feeling quite personal. This could be feeling very fated for you, these eclipses. It could be feeling that same sort of energy that you maybe felt when the north and south nodes were in your 1st and 7th houses. So it could feel a little bit personal or deeply transformative. So keep that in mind with moving through this energy, but it will be positively supported through Jupiter. It could feel like a lot, could feel like a lot all at once, but it is all happening and supporting you in this movement and shift and change for you Scorpio and Scorpio rising. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This energy of the north and south nodes moving through your chart will be happening in the 9th and 3rd houses. So there could be some shifting and letting go of maybe overseas work or higher study or legal battles, shifting you to focus more on your local community, maybe local study, your extended or siblings in some way, or even how you communicate and express yourself. You could be looking at taking on new sort of interesting studies. It could be looking at maybe deepening or shifting or changing your connection with your extended family, getting to know them a bit more, or even your siblings. If you aren't too close with them, maybe you're looking at transforming or deepening that connection with them. Your chart ruler Jupiter is heavily involved in this energy, so you will likely feel these eclipses quite personally and in a quite positive way. There could be some interesting positive letting go of something that might have been holding you back or no longer need your attention anymore, Sagittarius rising. Could be that some legalities or a legal battle or some sort of higher law study. I do think this is a lot to do with higher study or higher law that is finally coming to a close. You're finally getting those answers. It's finally coming to fruition. It's finally being able to shut things off, and it's been supported positively. You have Uranus in your 7th house, which will be forming a sextile and trine to this energy. So this is an unexpected, maybe positive win or unexpected agreement or contract that comes out of this energy that is happening for you, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. There's also Saturn moving through your 5th house, so you're maybe shifting and changing your priorities when it comes to what lights you up, brings you joy, or your family in some way. Maybe your family unit is changing if you have children, or maybe there is children coming into your life that's sort of shifting and changing this, or romantic partnerships are changing this energy for you too. But overall, I feel like there's this energy of change and shift and deepening connections or deepening in some sort of way, or positive, powerful transformation happening to you to do with how you communicate, express yourself, the work that you're putting out into the world, or any legal or higher study that might finally be coming to a close for you, Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this energy will be happening for you in your 2nd and 8th houses. So the South Node will be moving into your 8th house of Leo and the North Node into your 2nd house of Aquarius. Now this has a lot to do with how you make your money, how you receive your money. Maybe you are shifting and changing the way you make money. Maybe you are receiving some sort of inheritance or letting go of some sort of debt. Maybe you've finally cleared that debt that you've been needing to clear that has been hanging around for quite some time. Could be even things that have been happening since that 2016, 2018, 2019 period that you're finally putting a close to, that you're finally letting go of. You're finally shifting into something bigger, something more intense, potent, powerful when it comes to how you make your money, your resources. There is some positive energy when it comes to closing off this area in life for you to do with your 8th house, and this positive moving forward into your 2nd house of resources and finances. You'll likely be getting a bit of support when it comes from your work, or when it comes from some sort of unexpected things to do with your health, or your habits, or how you take care of your body, and maybe you're looking after and finding new and interesting ways to maybe put this energy into your life in some way. There's likely some unexpected support and assistance to do with this shift and change and transformation that you're going through to do with your finances, and that could be to do with some sort of work opportunity. Maybe this work opportunity is providing you with some unexpected support, or just unexpected or interesting new perspectives that make you focus on things or be open to new opportunities. You do have Saturn moving through your 4th house, which will sextile and trine this energy as well. So there could be that positive, well, there could be that serious sort of shift and restructure when it comes to your home and family life. Maybe you are trying to make that a bit more solid, more stable when it comes to your foundations, and that is likely going to be positively impacted by these transformations. Now, this will be a shift from the 3rd and 9th houses. It might feel a little bit more intense, being that it is in the financial house for you, Capricorn and Capricorn rising, especially with your chart ruler Saturn involved in the mix, but it is involved in a positive way. So it could be an interesting energy to see how that plays out for you over the next 6 to 12 months, Capricorn and Capricorn rising, to do with your finances and how you make your money and other people's money and debt inheritance happening for you in your life over the next 6 to 12 months, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Aquarius and Aquarius rising, this energy of the North Node and South Node shifting through your chart will be happening in your 1st and 7th houses. So these eclipses are going to feel personal. They're going to feel like a shift and a change. There's going to be a focus on you, Aquarius and Aquarius rising, with the North Node moving into your 1st house, joining Pluto. So this is an energy that maybe feels a bit unexpected. Like this is like a different energy for you. You're likely feeling that there's eyes on you, there's people perceiving you in ways that maybe you weren't expecting. You're going through a shedding of layers, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This is a letting go of relationships and contractual agreements and partnerships that are not working anymore. It's time to let those go. It's time to let them naturally end. They might fatally end, not fatally end, but end in a fated way that's positively supported for this new growth that you're making in your life. You may be letting go of these relationships and these partnerships and these maybe old contracts that you're like, this doesn't align with me anymore. This isn't aligned with the person I'm becoming. You're going through a deeply personal transformation with Pluto in your 1st house. Over the next 20 years, you're not going to look or feel the same. You're going to be very different. So this is a part of that process. This is a part of shedding those layers, letting go of areas in life that don't work for you anymore, and really focusing on this new person. What's this new person that you're wanting to be? What do they do? What are their habits? This is going to help you move into this area in life, move into this person that you're wanting to become. Uranus is in your 5th house, so there's some unexpected changes that are happening to do with your hobbies, what lights you up, brings you joy, relationships, romantic partnerships in your life that maybe are supporting this change. Maybe you're inspired to change to be a better person for your relationships, for your children. You're wanting to be the best version of yourself for them. That could be a really positive energy and a positive way of making these changes. Saturn is going to be in your third house of communication, your siblings, and your extended family. It will also make positive aspects to these energies. So there could be some interesting boundaries that you might be putting in place. There could be some new restructure or changes, or just maybe making a more solid energy for yourself when it comes to how you communicate and express yourself, or those relationships in your life, you're really leaning on them or helping them create that structure that you need in order to focus on being the best version and becoming this person that you're deeply transforming into. So it will be interesting energy for you, Aquarius, and Aquarius rising. Jupiter is in the mix supporting this energy. Things might feel a bit big, intense, and overwhelming, but it is helping you move into the next step and phase in your life for you over the next 20 years, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. The Pisces and Pisces rising. This energy of the North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo will be happening in your 12th and 6th houses. You will likely be undergoing a deeply psychological and spiritual transformation, Pisces and Pisces rising, which is likely not all that dissimilar for you. Pluto is in your 12th house, which is causing a lot of shedding of layers when it comes to your connection to spirituality, when it comes to your connection with your dream space, circles and parts of society that are more hidden. You could be facing your fears more. It could be really getting you out of your comfort zone, Pisces and Pisces rising, and really putting you in looking at how you can grow, how you can transform, how you can change your work, your health, your daily routines, and your connection with your co-workers, and maybe letting go of work that is no longer inspiring you, is no longer making you feel creative. Your chart ruler is deeply involved in this energy. You're likely feeling this transformational energy very deeply, very personally. It's shedding old layers. It's moving into this new unique energy of the North Node in Aquarius. Uranus is in your 4th house, trining and sextiling this energy, which is giving you some unexpected support from family, from your roots, maybe creating an unexpected foundation for yourself to process these changes. Saturn is moving through your 2nd house, which is a challenging energy in of itself. Resources might feel tight, but you're actually transforming boundaries when it comes to how you make and keep your money. Maybe you're going through some restructuring on how you've handled money or finances, or your what is of value to you is going through a bit of a change and a restructure for you that is likely going to play out over the next few years. But it's been a nice energy with a lot of this heavy Saturn energy moving out of your 1st house or off your sun, or just out of that Piscean energy. You're now focusing on more of a forward movement rather than feeling in the depths of your emotions. It's moving you out of that energy a little bit. You're focusing on how you can bring more interesting ways to use your spiritual connections in a way that's going to deeply transform you and help heal you in some way, Pisces and Pisces rising. So let's see what the cards have in store for us as a collective over the next 6 to 12 months with these new energies in the sign of Leo and Aquarius. And that one just jumped out. Guidance. You are divinely guided. I feel like that is Jupiter in a nutshell. Jupiter is divinely guiding us all throughout these shifts and changes to do with the North and South Node, wherever they are happening in your chart. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to be back soon with another video, but I hope this helps provide you with a bit of guidance in the upcoming eclipses and energies happening in your chart over the next 6 to 12 months. If this video has been helpful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.